Hey, what's up, everybody? Fat Man and Cheeto Boy here today, bringing us a film study of Jared Goff. I know a bunch of people were asking for it, and this all comes from Cheeto Boy over there saying that Matthew Stafford wasn't an upgrade over Jared Goff, thinks Jared Goff is better. He did the Matthew Stafford film study, turned himself into a Matthew Stafford fanboy. So now he wants to do the Jared Goff. Cheeto Boy, take it away.
Jared Goff's better than Matthew Stafford. In today's NFL, he's better than Matthew Stafford. You know why? Because of mobility. Because of mobility. That's if it was 1985, I'd give the edge to Stafford. But in today's game, if you judge it by today's game, Jared Goff fits today's NFL.
Is Tom Brady mobile?
No.
He got a ring.
Tom Brady also been in the NFL for 20 plus years. You don't see a lot of quarterbacks in the last 10 years come in the NFL and be just a pure pocket passer and dominate the NFL. Look at the last 7 or 8 drafts. All these quarterbacks that are athletic: Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, even Carson Wentz to an extent has some mobility. All these quarterbacks that you're talking about, they have mobility. Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson.
So now you're just hurting yourself with because Mac Jones isn't a mobile guy.
Actually, he's mobile. If Patrick Mahomes is mobile,
he's not Deshaun Watson.
Okay, but not everybody. Deshaun Watson's like the 3rd or 4th most mobile quarterback in the NFL, though. Think about it. There's only about 3 quarterbacks that are more mobile than Deshaun Watson: Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, and Lamar. That's it. Mac Jones ran a faster 40 time than Patrick Mahomes, buddy. So that just tells
you. There's mobility and there's escapability. There's a difference.
Yeah, but people act like
those guys are mobile.
Yeah, but people
act like is Jared Goff. Even Brady has escapability. Aaron Rodgers has escapability.
Yeah.
And early on, I would say Aaron Rodgers was a little on the mobile side. But
yeah, people think Mac Jones is just this pocket guy that's like Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, can't move at all. He's actually somewhat athletic. Yeah, he's not going to take off and run for a 40-yard run or nothing, but he can escape pressure and roll out. Like I said, he has a faster 40 time than Patrick Mahomes. So,
but you're sold back to Jared Goff. You're sold on Jared Goff. You still think after watching the 45-minute Matthew Stafford highlight reel that Goff is better.
So it really depends for the Rams system. This is why I say Goff, because of the Rams system. Goff fits the Rams system more. The Rams want to roll out the pocket. They're like the 49ers. They want to move the pocket, and that's why Jared Goff fits their system better. Matthew Stafford is a typical sit in the pocket, Tom Brady, read the defense with a strong arm. The Stafford has, yes, I'll give Stafford, he has a better arm than Jared Goff. But today's NFL and the Rams offensive scheme, Jared Goff actually fits that scheme a little better.
I don't know. I think you're not giving Stafford enough credit. He can move the pocket.
No, not like Jared Goff. Stafford's not that mobile, really. He's okay, but I would think Goff is younger as well. That's another thing. Goff has a few years to develop still. He hasn't even hit his prime yet, or Stafford's kind of in his prime. But
I think I don't know. I think
he'll be out of it.
If you roll Stafford to the right and you just tell him throw it far,
I'll give Stafford. If it's just a straight stand in the pocket, drop back to pass, shotgun, no mobility or nothing, and just who can sling it the best, I'll give Stafford that edge. But far as moving around in the Rams offense, the Rams want a quarterback that can run bootlegs and stuff like that. That's Jared Goff. Jared Goff does that like Jimmy Garoppolo. He has the mobility to do that stuff. Stafford doesn't really have that in his game. Stafford's just stand in the pocket, He can avoid pressure, but he's not going to. He's like Tom Brady. When was the last time you see Matt Stafford roll out and throw bootleg? You don't see that.
Detroit Lions games are never on, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, you don't see it with Matthew Stafford. You don't see him running naked bootleg like Jared Goff.
All right. So, what are the things that you say Goff does well? I'll give you a couple minutes, and then we'll start the video.
The things Goff does well. He's very good at seeing his first read. His first read, if it's there, he's one of the best in the NFL at that, at finding this first read and throwing the ball and hitting them with accuracy. He's also good at making checks at the line of scrimmage. And like I said, he's really good on the bootlegs. That's to me his strongest suit as well. When he's out on the move, that's when he plays really well. I thought that's why kind of Sean McVay hurt the Rams in the Super Bowl in a way. He didn't call enough. Goff played in the pocket a lot during the Super Bowl, so I thought that was a little bit on blaming Sean McVay for that. I mean, yeah, the Patriots defense played great, but McVay also didn't really move the pocket, and they didn't have their running game. So I kind of blame. Yeah, Goff didn't play great, but at the same time, McVay kind of hurt him. Didn't play to Goff's strength because, like I said, I think Goff is one of the best at on the move, doing bootlegs and play action. He's really good at that.
All right, so we ready to get this? We ready to get this film rolling here?
Yep.
All right, so you have two for us, right?
Yeah, there's two videos. It should be. I think it's the same person though, so it's just two different videos.
All right, so let's get it up here full screen.
Yep.
And we'll select it.
He's had quite the roller coaster ride that Jared Goff has had through his first 4 seasons in the NFL. I mean, first year he was a bust. Everyone thought that he was terrible. Then his second season with Sean McVay, they were able, his second season total, first season with Sean McVay, he really was able to have a breakout year and look very good. Third season goes to the Super Bowl, but in the Super Bowl, things go absolutely terrible. They lose largely because of Goff. And then now his fourth season, things have gotten a lot worse statistically. His passer rating was over 100 in 2017 and 18, but dropped down to 86.5 in 2019. Again, passer rating, flawed stat. I say it every time I bring it up, but it can give you somewhat of an idea of what has happened. So, I mean, what happened? Has Jared Goff lost it? Well, no. I mean, obviously not. I mean, watch this play. It's a cover 4 zone. And what's going to happen right here is Cooks is going to run a deep route, and I'm just going to let this thing play. But basically, the defensive back in the middle of the field on the bottom of the screen, who's deep, he's going to basically cut in, which is going to allow for a one-on-one matchup. And watch how Goff.
Look at that throw. Look at that dime.
You couldn't ask for anything better than that. If it was a foot farther or a foot shorter, it's not a completion. I mean, they needed a complete perfect throw, and not just that. I mean, look at where he was. He was at about the 22-yard line when he threw it, and it's caught about the 15-yard line. I mean, just a monster throw. So his arm talent is clearly still there, and honestly, that's a dumb point to even bring up. Of course, his arm talent is there. The guy's 25 years old. As a quarterback, your arm talent isn't going to fall off once you reach 25. So we all knew that. So what is it? Why did he have a bad season? Well, there were a few things. I mean, I think the offensive line deteriorating was a very real thing. I mean, you could honestly make an argument that it was a top 5 offensive line 2 years ago, and then last year it was a bottom 5 offensive line. I mean, it really had that big of a jump. I'm not sure I would quite say bottom 5, but I would probably say bottom 10. I mean, honestly, it's definitely a below average offensive line. No doubt about that, in my opinion.
So every NFL quarterback should be able to make that throw.
No, he threw his guy open. Not every NFL quarterback can make that throw.
They should be able to do that. At least the starters.
He threw his guy open. That's what that was. Yes, I agree. They're in the NFL. They should be able to make that throw. The problem is half of the league can't make that throw.
That's what Tua is good at. He just can't throw it that far from what I've seen.
Yeah, I think that's
it really can hurt you in a much bigger way sometimes. Like a play like this, it's going to be a cover one hole, and there's a route that's running towards the sideline that Goff likes. I mean, this is a pretty good route against this type of coverage. Tampa Bay is trying to take away the middle of the field, so a route that still has a cut in it, but it's cutting away from the middle of the field. This is something that's pretty good. And after the ball is snapped, you're going to notice that there is easily some separation right here, but there's also pressure right in Goff's face. So Goff wants to make this throw, and quite frankly, if he does make this throw and he makes it perfect, it's a touchdown. And even if it's not perfect, it's setting up a first down and goal. I mean, this is a great situation. But the problem is that he's going to get hit as he's thrown, and that turns it into an interception the other way. I mean, that's taking 7 points off the board just like that and ending your possession. I mean, that's just a huge blow. And again, could you maybe make the argument that he should have noticed the pressure right in his face and not made that throw? I think you can make that argument. I think that's fair. But also, that's a reason why this offense went from so good 2 years ago to not that great last year. At least definitely hit or miss, we'll say. In terms of yards per attempt last year, they've had 7.1 yards per attempt. And that kind of feels right for me, right a little bit above average, but not that much above average. And kind of just, again, very hit or miss. They did have some moments, but definitely were a far cry from what they were 2 years ago. And listen, I don't want to sit here and pretend like none of it was Goff's fault. I mean, one thing that was a problem in the Super Bowl and cost them the Super Bowl and is still a problem.
How about the defensive end just made a damn good play? That's what it looked like to me. He got the pressure. Yes, Goff shouldn't have threw the ball, but the pressure came.
Yeah.
The lineman got the DE got there.
Yeah, that's another argument. I mean, the Rams line is pretty bad. It was good the year they went to the Super Bowl, but after that they kind of got older and they lost people. I think Detroit has a better line, and they upgraded their line as well. So now he isn't going to have this. I will say, Goff won't have the receivers he had this year, at least with the Rams. But his line is going to be better than what he had with the Rams the last few years. Now the weapons, I'll say it's a downgrade for him. He's not going to have a Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods or Brandon Cooks or any of those guys in Detroit.
But see, that's where he could have used his mobility you were telling me about.
No, there was nowhere to go, though. That defensive lineman was right there.
It's been a problem his whole career is his post-snap reads. He struggles with post-snap reads, and teams can fool him. And I feel like they maybe even tried to fool him more once it sort of came out more and more that that's what he struggles with. Like on this play, this is what we know is going to happen. We know that it's going to be man coverage. There's one safety who is deep. And so there's a Tampa Bay player who could be doing a couple of things. He could be dropping back into coverage like that, which would just be a cover one, a traditional cover one hole or cover one robber concept. But instead what they're going to do is they're going to have him be the one who is going to be rushing the passer, and they're going to drop back Levante David into coverage, and he's going to be a lot higher up to the top of the screen than typically you would expect. And so for Goff, the receiver on the top of the screen is running a slant route to the middle of the field, which will typically work whether it's a cover one blitz or a cover one hole or cover one robber. But it's not going to work in this situation because David is going to be dropping so far up to the top of the screen. However, Goff just doesn't notice this, and he's going to end up throwing an interception right there just because he didn't realize that. That's a real thing. That's a real problem that he has in his game, and it really does affect him in a negative way. And it still is a problem, and until he fixes it, it's going to continue to be a problem and will probably lead to some interception. That being said, his arm talent is fantastic.
Live streaming can be tricky, and sometimes trying to find the right.
Fantastic. I mean, that's really, why he got drafted first overall. That's how teams have been able to be successful with him, how the Rams went to back-to-back playoff appearances and went to a Super Bowl with him.
To me, it looks like he just made that read at the line, and that's what he stuck with. He didn't go through progressions.
Yeah, like I said, he goes to his first.
That's where I'm throwing it. Because looking at the defense, okay, he's not going to know that pre-snap unless he's seen it on film.
Yeah.
And I think he just reacted to the play bad. I don't think he went through progression.
It's because of his arm talent.
He goes to his first read a lot. That's his problem. He does like to go to his first read a lot.
Running over the middle. So, if you can get into a gap in coverage, this can work out. And after the ball is snapped, he's kind of in a gap in coverage. I mean, there's a couple of Arizona players who are there. So keep in mind, it's not like you have a drone that just drops a football. You have to try to make the throw over those Arizona players. And also, you can't make it too far. So there is not a big window whatsoever for Goff to make this throw. However, he does it anyways, and it works. So that's kind of what Goff can do. He can take those risky throws because he rarely throws interceptions on plays like that. Usually his interceptions are him just missing a read. That's honestly what a lot of them are. If you watch my recent Patrick Mahomes video, I kind of talked about the difference between Mahomes and someone like Baker Mayfield, of that Mahomes and Mayfield will make a lot of the same throws. The difference is just that Mahomes actually can make those throws, where Mayfield will not be as accurate on all of them, and he'll miss or just doesn't have the arm strength that Mahomes does. And nobody is as accurate and has the arm strength as Mahomes, but you get the point. Well, I feel like for Goff, it's very similar to one of those guys. I mean, you could say that he plays a decent amount like Jameis Winston. The only difference is that he's just far more accurate than Winston. And a little bit. I mean, I would actually say that their IQ is about the same, but Goff is just a much more talented thrower of the football. Like, this play is another example. It's a cover 3 zone. There's a receiver that's going to be cutting up to the top of the screen. And right after the ball is snapped, there's an opening here, but it is not a huge opening by any means. There's maybe not necessarily a mailbox he has to fit it through, but it's certainly a stop sign, and maybe not even that big of a window. However, watch how he still is able to make it really just a perfect throw. You couldn't ask for anything better than that, and it's a touchdown. Some lesser quarterbacks wouldn't make that throw, and they shouldn't, because it's a kind of a risky throw. But Goff is talented enough that he can make those throws. So, that's another thing I wanted to bring up, is that his arm talent really is. It's fantastic, which is why when he's in the right situation, he can really thrive.
Pause that.
He's not Aaron Rodgers.
Could Tua make that throw?
I didn't see the throw. Let me rewind it. I was trying to figure out how to. I wanted to minimize it on my one screen, but when I did that,
it's certainly
it
a
so now I'm
stop
afraid
sign,
to
and maybe
touch
not
anything.
even that big of a window. However, watch how he still is able to make it really just a perfect throw. You couldn't ask for anything better than that, and it's a touchdown.
Hell yeah, Tua can make that throw.
No.
Tua's got MVP.
Some lesser quarterbacks
Tua can't make that throw. Most quarterbacks in the NFL cannot make that throw.
But Goff is talented enough that he can make those throws.
There's about 10.
That's something I wanted to bring up, is that his arm talent really is. It's fantastic.
So who are they?
10 quarterbacks that can make that throw?
The video plays.
Do what?
You said there's only 10 quarterbacks that can make that throw. Who are they?
Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford could probably make that throw. I think Watson can make that throw.
Russell Wilson
can make that throw.
Tom Brady.
No, I don't think Brady can make. I don't know, that tight of a window. I don't know. That's
Brady
tough. Not at his age right now. I don't think so. Now in his prime, yes. Justin Herbert. No, Cam Newton can't make that throw.
Cam Newton has a rocket. Don't tell me.
He can't make that throw. Not with that guy. That guy should have picked that off. If that's Cam Newton, that's intercepted to the house the other way. I promise you.
That ball would get there fast and in a hurry. He's going to break receivers.
Yeah, no, or either skip it at him, or if it was thrown, it would have been intercepted. That guy would have been taking it. Josh Allen could have made that throw too.
Baker Mayfield.
I don't know if Baker can make that throw. I don't think he can.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Nope, not at 39. He can't.
Tyler Heineke.
Nope.
All right, want me to turn the sound back on this guy here?
Jimmy Garoppolo can't make that throw either.
The other thing is that the receiver that Goff wants to hit just isn't open yet. This is a 3rd down and 1, so they really want to get this first down. But Goff is able to scramble to some degree. However, off balance doesn't make a great throw. He did what he had to do. I mean, that play just was never going to work out. But I do think this is actually an okay play from Goff. I don't think that he's quite, comparing him to the guys who couldn't move of the past, of the Eli Manning. You could even throw Phillip Rivers in there, like a Peyton Manning, some of these guys who weren't very good at moving. I think he's more mobile than those guys. Nobody is going to compare him to Lamar Jackson, right? But at the end of the day, he doesn't have to be Lamar Jackson, because he has, a way of playing that works. He is a flawed quarterback, but he also has some really good things about him too. And sometimes you would rather have the quarterback who is great at, 3/4 of the aspects of being a quarterback and bad at one quarter than just a quarterback who is mediocre at everything. Because at least with Goff, in the right situation, he can go to a Super Bowl and maybe even win it. But with some guys, you wouldn't have that. So I still like Goff. I think Goff is pretty good. I am not out on Goff just yet. It takes a...
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, you show us, because we're not watching another commercial.
The headline in the Jared Goff Matthew Stafford trade is Matthew Stafford's.
All right, so this is the second video he had queued up. So here we go with this one.
And what he brings to the Lions, because I don't totally agree with everyone saying this is just a cap dump, and that some people are saying the Lions basically got an extra first-round pick just to take on Goff's contract. I can't see that being the case. Now, I don't think Goff's the long-term answer, and I do think he got traded to make the cap situation work, but he's not an awful quarterback, and I figured I'd make a video, talk about what he brings to the Lions, because I kind of love these moves. When you're rebuilding, don't just get picks, but also get some sort of young players who have potential, and Goff's far from a disaster. First, let's start off with the negatives, because these are kind of the back-breaking type situations that you'll see is, he has the games where he just sort of implodes, and he'll kind of just cost you some games. The Miami game was a great example of when he just sort of fell apart. And it's a lot of stuff like this. This is very similar to what, why he fell apart in the Super Bowl a few years back, is plays like this. It's going to be really Miami's showing as though they're playing cover zero, where you think that they're going to be man coverage across the board. And while there is no safety deep, what Miami's going to end up doing is have two players drop back into coverage, and that's going to kind of fool Jared Goff, or at least they're hoping it is. If this is, in fact, cover zero, Goff is going to have to get rid of the ball pretty quickly. So that's obviously one factor. But the route that he would want to throw too quickly wouldn't be good against this coverage, since, it's a good concept by Miami for sure. I think that's the issue with Goff, is he gets fooled on good concepts. Watch. Goff takes the snap, and as you see, this is a throw that he shouldn't make. But if you were to take away everyone who's in front of the receiver he wants to throw to, then it would be a throw he absolutely should make. So that's just kind of the issue, is he just never sees the Miami player dropping back into coverage. And this is Goff's biggest flaw, I would say. Goff makes this throw, and it's just an easy interception. And, one thing I talked about in my Matt Stafford video is Stafford will throw some interceptions too. Stafford actually, on average, throws...
He's absolutely just making the read at the line and throwing it.
Yeah.
Where I'm going, he's not watching.
Like I said, most of his interceptions are actually very coachable, though. Because, like I said, it's just him not seeing a defense.
It's like he's reading the secondary, but he's not, like, the linebackers. He's not reading right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's his mistakes are mental, but they're all coachable.
Because they're all like after the snap.
Yeah.
More interceptions than Goff does, but it seems like Stafford throws interceptions that are good plays by the defense, and he will be a gunslinger and take chances, and sometimes the defense makes a good play, whereas Goff will throw some interceptions that are just easy plays for the defense. There's also something like this, where what's going to happen on this play is, one thing you'll notice is that Kyle Van Noy at the last second is going to get on the line, and so here for Jared Goff, there's currently 6 Miami Dolphins who are on the line, and it's empty backfield, no tight ends blocking. So this means that he has 5 offensive linemen to 6 Miami players in front of him. So what do you do here? There's a few things you can do. One would just be to, make a call and get somebody to help block at the line. That's something that a lot of guys would do. Or at the very least, you have to be aware that there could potentially be a 6-man rush, and you have to get rid of the ball as quickly as you can, because someone will probably be unblocked. However, Goff takes a snap and is just too patient here, and it ends up being a fumble returned for a touchdown, and that's a back-breaking play. And I should be a bit clear, these types of plays don't always result in,
Guaranteed, no nicks, bumps, cuts, or scratches.
This is definitely by far awesome.
80-yard fumbles for touchdowns, but these are definitely plays that Jared Goff will make at times, and sometimes they'll just be incompletions, but that's not good either. So I use some examples of turnovers because those are the most dramatic things, and that makes the more interesting video. But it's not always turnovers. Sometimes it's just lost plays, which is a factor, and good defensive coordinators can get the better of him. But the reality is, Goff isn't like this complete dummy either. And I do feel like he has gotten smarter in some subtle ways. And so my hope is that he could continue to become a higher IQ football player. Again, it's hard. I feel like usually after 4 years, you know who the guy is. The chances of him improving, it would be a statistical anomaly for sure. But even if he stays what he's at now, he can make some smart plays like this one. It's a little thing, but I like it. It's a cover 3 zone. And there's 2 receivers he could throw to, one to his left or one to his right. Don't worry too much about everything else because that's not really that important. So Goff takes the snap, and he's going to look to his left. And, maybe he was legitimately looking here as though he wanted to make this throw. I kind of think he was using his eyes to sort of fool the middle linebacker to go over in that direction. That's what I think he was doing here. And I think it's a really good play by him because he gets the linebacker over, which is important. And then as you see, he gets to his second read and makes this throw, and they're able to pick up a first down. Whether that was all intentional or he just got to his second read, either way, that's a smart play and a good play by Goff. So, again, he's not just this guy who is, all arm talent and, can't think. He is certainly he has talent for sure. Kind of a bit reminiscent of like this. He's kind of a Ryan Tannehill type, where Tannehill's going to be the guy I probably compare 100 guys to, where physical tools are there. Obviously, Tannehill's a much better runner, but in terms of arm strength, they're both very good at that. But the issue has kind of been upstairs, and Tannehill has improved, so maybe that's some hope for Detroit. You get him in a simpler offense, you can potentially maximize his value. Although again, it's hard to imagine his value is going to be any greater than what it was with Sean McVay. Let's now show this play. So this is an end zone situation. You're inside the 5. And so, not a ton of space here typically. And the way this play is going to work is I've circled the route that Goff wants to throw to. It's going to be in a gap in coverage. So that's where he's going to look to throw. But Goff takes the snap, just fires one right away, and they're able to get this touchdown. Again, good arm strength there. It's low in a way a little bit, but he's trying to throw it in a position where it's not going to be turned over if it's incomplete. So it's not as bad of a throw as it looks. It's actually a pretty good throw. I would say maybe a bit too far low, but that's pretty great. You can't argue for much better than that. And that's kind of my point, is he has a big arm. He can, he is accurate. He's not Matthew Stafford, but he's still pretty good. And you're getting a downgrade at quarterback, but it's not like you're just giving up the quarterback. And obviously the 2 first-rounders and a third-rounder help. But also, like Goff is something. Goff is, in my opinion, a positive asset, especially because at the end of next season, you can cut him for no dead cap. So there's really very low risk in taking on Goff. That's why I think he's a positive asset. Like, this play is going to be another good example of that, I think. We're going up against Philadelphia this time. It's going to be a cover 3 zone, and Goff's going to run play action. He has a receiver who's running a route. And this is a good route against this type of coverage. It could get open. And watch, as you see, Goff runs the play action. And this is open, but one thing worth noting, this isn't quite as open as you might suspect, because yes, there is a receiver who's past the Philadelphia corner, so that's a good advantage at first. The issue, though, is that this receiver is not just running a route towards the corner of the end zone. He's going to be running just an out route, which means he's going to be running a lot closer to the sidelines. So, it's not necessarily a perfect situation as you might hope. It's still a good situation, though. It's one that you would expect Goff to be able to make. But one thing that's going to happen is that this is just going to be a perfect throw. Like, watch, as you see, I mean, I don't know. I don't think you could really ask for anything better than that. Maybe you could say he should have let him throwing it deep, but at the same time, like, that's not what his job is. And you don't want to, lose those yards trying to get an extra 5 yards by leading him deep and then having your receiver not be ready for it. So I think that's a good throw. I just think that Goff, there's a lot he does well. And people fixate on what he does poorly, but he is, again, like I keep saying, he's a positive asset in this trade. I really believe that. Like, I think what probably happens is I think there's a good chance the Rams end up, drafting a quarterback, and they could even end up cutting Jared Goff because they don't think he fits their plans with his contract. But I think I think what probably happens is they just keep him for a year and see what happens. And quite frankly, I love these types of moves. I really do. I love these types of moves. When you see someone who is good, but their team doesn't want them, and good is relative, but I think he's a mediocre starting quarterback, which has a good amount of value. And when you have someone that has value and the team doesn't want him anymore, get that player along with getting the draft picks and getting rid of one of your good players, which I think it's tough because quarterback's such a tough situation. But I like this move.
All right.
Sounds like Jared Goff is going to get cut and be the Patriots' next quarterback.
So after 45 minutes of a Matthew Stafford film study of him just lighting up defenses, I get 20 minutes of Jared Goff highlights. I don't know, bud. The argument's looking weak.
Well, I'll see this year how it turns out.
So I seen Braxton. Braxton wanted to come in. Braxton, if you're still here, let me know. I'll send you a link.
Like I said, if Goff gets cut, we'll take him to New England.
That's I don't know, bud.
I'd take him to New England. We give him a new contract. If he gets cut, we just give him a new contract. Hey, you want to be a starter, bud? Come to New England. Belichick will coach you up. You're only what? He'll be only like 27. Not even. He's just into his prime. I'd take him.
I don't know, bud.
I would take him over Cam Newton right now.
I just sent Jordan Jordan. I just sent Braxton the link. So
I would take Jared Goff over Cam Newton right now.
Really?
Yep. If you told me Jared Goff was a Patriots quarterback, I would feel a lot better about this season than Cam Newton.
But you've been gassing up Cam Newton for weeks, man.
I have, but I don't think we can win a Super Bowl with Cam Newton.
That's
The only reason why Cam Newton is going to do good this year is because the offense is built to what Cam Newton does: 2 tight ends, running game, good offensive line. That's all. If Cam Newton was playing in a Tom Brady, Danny Amendola, and Julian Edelman, he would not do good this year. He would put up the same numbers. Well, he probably put up a little better numbers than last year because of the receiving core to be better. But if he had the same receivers Tom Brady had in his prime, he would not be putting up great numbers.
I don't know. I think Goff is average.
He can't throw to those little slot receivers. He needs a little bigger receivers or somebody that can beat a defense downfield. He needs either a guy that's big, like a Calvin Benjamin, or he needs a guy that can run like a Ted Ginn or a Nelson Aguilar. Then, like I said, he needs those safety blanket tight end. The bad news is Mac Jones. Freaking Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry have already been injured in practice. That's the bad news. Hunter Henry, I know, has been practicing, but because he got hurt a couple weeks ago and he just came back this week. Jonnu, I don't think, has been practicing because he just recently got hurt. So there's that. Hold on. He said send link. Did you send him the link?
To Braxton, yeah. I put it in the chat too. You should be able to click it in the chat. Worked for Dave. So here comes the big Browns fan, Mr. Dave Clark.
How you guys doing today?
What's up?
I'm good. How you doing, Jordan? Good to see you.
I'm doing great.
Hey, I just want to peek in real quick. I want to say, you guys, Jordan, you remember? I'm gonna give Jordan a little New England Patriots quiz. It's off your topic, but if you'll just bear with me, go off topic for a minute. Jordan, do you remember in 2001, who the starting quarterback was for the New England Patriots that year?
And to start the year,
2001, week 1, who was the starting quarterback?
Drew Bledsoe.
Okay, and what kind of an injury did he go down with in week 3 that Brady had to finish the game for him?
I believe it was his shoulder, maybe. I know Mo Lewis was the one that knocked him out of the game in week 3.
I think he had a collapsed lung, and he came back from it later on in the year.
Yeah, I was only 9, I think, when that happened, so I don't exactly remember what the injury was, but I remember it happened.
Yeah, I just want to see how good you were on the Patriots' history. And then when Bledsoe recovered from the injury and was cleared to play again, Belichick continued with Brady as a starter.
Yeah.
Bledsoe got pissed off. And then the championship game at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Bledsoe threw a touchdown and they won.
Brady got hurt during that game because I believe it was Pittsburgh safety Lee Flowers took a low hit on him because you can't go in low. He went low and got his ankles and it took him out.
Well, you guys know the reason why.
Bledsoe finished the game.
Yeah, he's the reason they got to the Super Bowl in the AFC Championship game. He won.
Brady was okay to start the Super Bowl, and he just had a taped up ankle and took a shot of medicine. But anyways,
yeah,
I wondered today if Bledsoe would have stayed healthy, how much longer he would have continued as a starter. I mean, Brady eventually would have got an opportunity. I just don't know when.
Yeah, that is a good question. I don't know.
But anyways, I got to pop out of here. I'll let Dave get back on here with you. You guys have a good day. But I just wanted to see how you were up on New England Patriots history.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jordan.
All right.
I don't know if Braxton's having difficulties. Didn't seem like Dave did.
Let's see what he said. I told him that you send the link. There, I'll try to send it in the chat.
So somebody asked our thoughts on Madden 22.
Somebody asked what?
Our thoughts on Madden 22. I don't really have any. It'll be the same game they regurgitate every year with updated rosters and maybe 1 or 2 better graphics and different cover boys. But it'll be the same thing. It's always the same thing.
I was about to say it's pretty much the same game. I sent them the link in the chat, so.
Yeah, so if we don't get him in here,
yeah,
he is here.
I
don't know why it never works when I send it to him.
We'll give him a few minutes. See if he joins.
Yeah, he's there. Add him in. What's up? So what do you think? We can't. Oh, he's muted. Why are you muted, sir? Let's unmute you.
Oh, it's right there.
There it is. There we go. Oh, you had yourself muted.
Yeah, what y'all doing?
I thought you were putting him in the penalty box.
I'm about to go do some plumbing. But so what are your thoughts on Goff?
Well, you said what's my thoughts on Goff?
Yes, sir. What do you think about him?
I think he's a good quarterback. I think he got a chip on his shoulder.
So do you think you're better off with Goff than you were with Stafford?
He's a winner. Goff's a winner.
Okay, I can see that. But do you think he fits what Detroit's trying to do? Was Mr. bite off the kneecap up there?
Yeah, I think he fits what we're doing.
Do you think Detroit? So you think Detroit won the trade, getting Goff, getting 2 first-round draft picks, shipping trash off to to the Rams? You think you're going to have a much better season without him?
Yeah.
They did get the best.
Better. I think Goff is going to be better in Detroit than he was with the Rams. And the only reason I say this is I think Sean McVay hold Jared Goff back. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think he did to an extent as well.
So in Detroit, he'll be able to let it rip.
Yeah, because I have like a YouTube account too, and like I listen to my Lions and stuff, but like my Lions fan, he be having some Rams fans on his show, and they said that Sean McVay will get exposed this year. For some reason, and they said that he was holding Goff back. He didn't let Goff do certain things.
What's your take on that, Jordan?
I told you, Sean McVay he wouldn't play the Jared Goff strengths. He was kind of like Josh McDaniels with the Cam Newton thing last year. He wouldn't let Jared Goff be Jared Goff and do his strength. He wanted to be Sean McVay offense. Like you're supposed to build around your quarterback. You're not supposed to build. Smart offensive coordinators build to what their quarterback strengths are, not their offense. Like look at the Baltimore Ravens, for example. Their offensive coordinator is more of like a passing guy, but he took Lamar Jackson and just built him into Lamar Jackson. Their receivers aren't that great, but you got the best. You got the best guy with the ball in his hands in the NFL. And you build offense around them. Same with Kansas City. They got a good tight end, Travis Kelce, and they speed wide receivers for Patrick Mahomes to throw the deep ball too.
That sounds like a whole lot of building that needs to be done.
I do like the direction the Lions are headed into, actually, though, for once. They got the best offensive lineman in the draft in the last 5 years. Penei Sewell. Yeah.
I like what Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes did with draft picks to build through the trenches.
The one thing I will say about the Lions that works.
That's how you win football games. Build through the trenches.
The one thing I will, like I said, the one thing that I will give Goff this year is he's going to have a better offensive line. But the one thing that does worry about the Lions receiving core is not very good. They're going to have to. He's going to have to pretty much make his receivers this year. Because I know they lost their best two receivers in Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones. So he's going to have to go to the tight end and a bunch of young wide receivers. So that's my only worry with Goff. But he's going to have better protection.
You don't need a great receiving core to win. Look at Tom Brady balls. He had Deion Branch, and who else he had? Really had receiver.
Yeah, but that was also in a different time. And those defenses were really good. That's why they were winning. Detroit doesn't have a good defense like that. Jared Goff, like I said, Jared Goff is getting a better offensive line. But he's not getting the same defense and stuff.
You don't need superstar receivers.
I disagree. In the Lions, he's going to need superstars. Their defense can't stop nobody. They're going to have a first-year head coach. Their Goff is going to need some playmakers.
Yeah.
Their offense is going to be okay. They'll do okay, but don't suspect Goff this year to be a Pro Bowl type quarterback because you still need good receivers to be an elite quarterback. And that's why I told people, I was like, people keep saying Matthew Stafford never won. I was like, Matthew Stafford never won a division. He never won a playoff game. People want to say the Lions didn't put a great team around him. Yeah, he never had really a top defense, but 1 or 2 years he had a really good defense. But at the same time, He also had Marvin Jones, who's one of the best number 2 wide receivers in the NFL. Kenny Galladay's a monster. Freaking T.J. Hawkinson might be the best young tight end in football. Their line's actually their offensive line is actually better than the Rams by a lot. So that's, like I said, I will give Goff. He's going to have definitely a better offensive line. But like I said, receivers are kind of developing. They're young at receiver. Like I said, I couldn't tell you another wide receiver on their team besides the guy they drafted out of USC, Amon St. Brown. I like him. But other than that, I couldn't tell you another.
I like the defensive tackle we drafted, Levi from Washington.
Yeah, see, that's where I worry about Detroit too. Yeah, that's why I think Detroit's not going to be that good, because their defense. I think their offense will be okay. It's not going to be great, but it'll be okay. It'll be average.
We drafted 2 good defensive tackles.
But their linebackers are awful. I think they got the worst linebacking group in the NFL. And then their secondary has some promising pieces though. But I like the guy they drafted last year from Ohio State, Jeffrey Okudah. I think he'll be pretty good in a couple of years once they get a real defense around them.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, I have some work I have to go do around the house. So, Braxton, thanks for jumping in and joining us a little bit on this Jared Goff film study, giving us your thoughts and opinions on it. Cheeto Boy over there, I know you got something going on.
Yep.
Yep, that's how you're going to plug your shit. Yep. All right.
Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be live on the 32 NFL Waters.
Head on over, jump on Fat Man and the Hawk. They got a Madden League started up. Mr. Jordan and Mr. Christ, they put together a PS4 Madden League. It's been fun so far. They got this trash old man reactions happening over there with them. I know Jordan busted me the other night.
I want to say busted.
They're also streaming some of the older video games, some retro stuff. So go ahead, join, follow YouTube. They're putting a lot of stuff up on there. It's been going crazy lately. That's all I got, guys. I'm heading off. Make sure follow Jordan on the Warzone.
Before we go, I will say something. He says he got busted. It was 27-10, and listen to this. He had 160 more yards of offense than me, so I wouldn't say he really got busted. And my last touchdown the last 7 points was a garbage time touchdown. So,
and two pick sixes on the same route.
Yeah, by Malcolm Butler, out of all people.
But all right, guys.
We're getting
off. Braxton, thanks for coming in. Make sure you join him on Monday, Sunday, whenever he's going to go.
Yep, Monday to 8 p.m. Eastern time.
All right, guys. I'll catch you all later.
Yep.